Hello everyone. I'm pleased to be part of this year's annual review of RTBfoods, and especially in this role of being able to report on the successful publication of the special issue last month, March 2021, of the International Journal of Food Science and Technology. The issue titled Consumers Have Their Say, Assessing Preferred Quality Traits of Roots, Tubers, and Bananas, and Implications for Breeding. Many of you are intimately familiar with this special issue, especially as co-authors of one or more of the 36 included papers. In this brief talk, I want to summarize the background and the purpose of the special publication, the processes in its development, give an overview of the content, and finish with some lessons and some guidance for the future of RTBfoods and related projects. The concept of a series of publications based on RTB product profiles emerged from conversations during the 2019 annual meeting, especially envisioned by Dominique. The ideas continued to evolve over several months and slowly became formalized in a process I'll describe a bit further below. The centerpiece would be a methodology paper which described the systematic development of product profiles, including both socioeconomic and biophysical sciences. The main body of content would be the description of the development of 11 RTB food product profiles. From that first seed, there could be many details about the germination, growth, and finally, the harvest, but I'll present just a few of the key ones. The main purpose of this publication, as described in the journal's call for papers, was threefold: to define and communicate an improved knowledge of the end-user preferred quality characteristics of RTB products, to promote use of this knowledge to help elaborate goals for both processing unit operations, which are under food scientist control, and variety traits, which are under breeder control, and finally to contribute to better end-user acceptance and the successful deployment of technologies for a positive impact on RTB value chains in Africa through a dynamic and close interaction among social scientists, food technologists, biochemists, and plant breeders. While not specifically stated in the call for papers, RTBfoods expected to gain a high profile from such extensive publication in a highly coordinated and integrated approach. For the record, I'll give you a few of the details regarding the process behind this effort. Dominique requested the support of Bruce Hamaker from the project's External Advisory Committee to contact some journal editors who might support the idea of a special issue. Bruce received strong interest from Charles Brennan, chief editor of the International Journal of Food Science and Technology, followed by a firm commitment from the journal in mid-May of 2019 to publish with a proposed January or February 2020 publication goal. In early August, at the journal's request, Dominique, Bruce, and myself accepted to be guest editors. Dominique informed the proposed lead authors and writing teams about the planned special issue and requested agreement on participation. Although there were doubts, and some teams were doubtful about their ability to meet the deadline, there was unanimous enthusiasm about this initiative, and by the end of August, everyone had agreed to their roles as authors and coordinators. The project contracted me to provide coordination support and input for technical and style editing. The journal indicated that they expected about 15 papers for a special issue, and this was the initial goal set by the guest editors. Something we did not anticipate was the journal's strong suggestion to make an open call for papers. To us, guest editors, there appeared to be both positives and negatives of such a call, but there did not seem to be a compelling reason to argue against the journal's wishes. Thereafter, there was a process that all of you are very familiar with: intensive writing, editing, rewriting, submission, peer review, revisions, and finally acceptance and publication. All of this led to a few extensions of deadlines and of target publication date. And fortunately, the journal editors were very flexible and supportive about making these necessary adjustments in the face of a very large set of papers being developed. Each paper was assigned 2 to 3 peer reviewers and went through 1 to 3 review cycles until final acceptance. Remarkably, and to the great credit of all the writing teams, all the papers presented from the RTBfoods project and CRP-RTB program were ultimately accepted for publication. Very importantly, for this effort, all the project-related papers were supported for open access by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation through the Kronos platform. As you all now know, the special issue on Consumers Have Their Say was published as Volume 56, Issue 3 in March 2021. The special issue was completed with 36 articles. By crop or crop group, they are as follows: 15 cassava, 5 yam, 5 banana, 4 multiple RTBs, 4 sweet potato, 2 other root and tubers, 1 potato. In terms of types of papers, these can be described as 1 editorial, 1 registered report, 11 original research papers on product profiles, 17 other original research papers, including 6 from an external call, and 5 review papers. The 5 review papers covered trends in global RTB production and markets, case studies, lessons and challenges for increased rate of adoption and varietal change for RTB crops, Gary preferences, fried sweet potatoes, and use of spectral analysis on the quality of cassava roots and yam tubers. Many types of institutes were involved in the writing, including CGIAR centers, advanced research institutes, African national partners, Latin American universities, and an Asian research center. I believe it's worth giving special mention to the registered report, or the methodology paper by Laura Forsyth et al. This was the first registered report by the IJFST. Registered reports are becoming increasingly popular and now used by over 250 research journals. The registered report is a peer-reviewed research protocol before results of research are known to align scientific values and practices. It emphasizes the importance of the research question and the quality of the methodology prior to data collection. This means that a significant part of a manuscript will be peer-reviewed prior to reporting on the actual research. The system allows a better chance of acceptance of research papers if based on a registered report. Although the journal had never previously published a registered report, they were keen to do so and supported the guest editors with guidance on the process. A key stipulation was that this paper needed to be submitted and accepted for publication about 6 weeks ahead of any of the other papers in order for peer reviewers to have full access. I won't go through the full list of papers, but here they are for the record with links to the full articles, and you can consult with those links. Let's look now at some of the lessons from this experience and guidance going forward. I would say that the motivation imposed by the rigors of publishing created a huge incentive to finalize analysis, to share and exchange ideas, and to understand the pathway forward for further research. All the project teams, whatever the initial level of skepticism about the feasibility, came together to accomplish this monumental goal. The special issue accomplishes several internal, that is RTBfoods and partners, and external, non-partners, goals. It's the first time that such an extensive treatment of RTB food quality is addressed and shared with a global audience. The methodology paper can be used globally for developing food product profiles and can be adapted to other crops. The review papers provide context, background, and an additional basis for future planning. The original research papers bring a high level of scrutiny to the RTBfoods project, give credibility to the work already done, and guidance to remaining project activities. The papers provide the first steps toward identifying the key traits for biochemical characterization and subsequent high-throughput phenotyping protocols. With regard to this last point, according to research reported in this special issue, the main characteristics preferred by RTB consumers of boiled products are rapid softening and/or the development of friability or mealiness during cooking. For pounded products, the main objective is to obtain a smooth and stretchy dough with easy-to-swallow texture, colors, and taste aroma typical of each RTB. For cassava-derived products, color, acidity due to fermentation, stickiness in the fingers, and texture of the dough in the mouth are key sensory traits. Additionally, the swelling characteristics of gari in hot or cold water, atieke during steaming, and fufu in hot water contribute to consumer preferences. Of course, the papers noted many challenges and raised questions for future research. The role of gender is not apparent in the large majority of papers as a clear criterion for prioritizing traits in the product profile. However, these data are continuing to accumulate. In some contexts, quality characteristics prioritized by food chain actors were similar for products in different contexts, and for others it was the opposite. Agronomic and processing practices differed substantially among all profiles, even for similar products in the same country, by factors such as gender, ethnicity, migration status, and wealth. Research managers and breeders will need to have better information on the extent of the target markets, current and future, for each RTB product in order to assess the cost-benefit of a breeding investment. Breeders can only manage a limited number of traits. Crop management and processing modifications may accomplish improvements in consumer acceptance more quickly than breeding for some traits. Nonetheless, the detailed quality analysis protocols being developed in this project will still be applied. Finally, the exercise clearly took a lot of effort, but shouldn't be seen as something that detracted from the ongoing priorities of the RTBfoods project. Instead, it was highly complementary, built confidence in the validity of the hypotheses developed, in the scientific methods and analyses of results. It was a monumental accomplishment for which the entire RTBfoods team can take great pride. But publication isn't the final goal. The introduction of change to ongoing systems for how new varieties are developed, tested, and adopted is still a long road ahead. We must make some very important acknowledgments. The writing teams, especially the lead writers, for the excellent work and for 100% acceptance rate by the journal. To farmers, processors, and other food chain participants for providing product data, viewpoints, and other critical input. To Kathy and the rest of the PMU for continual administrative support. And very extensively to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for supporting open access of the journal articles through the Kronos platform. Thank you very much for your attention.